15. You ready?
Where you going, Bob?
Can you hear me?
Hear you now.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Rotary. Got a full house, it looks like, today. Well, we start the day off with prayer. Kevin Smith is going to lead us in Reverend Kevin Smith and the pledge. Bill, what's your last name? Elvis. Not more. And then we're going to have a favorite today. We're going to sing "You Are My Sunshine," and you need to know the word. And this gentleman right here, the Lieutenant Governor, and I are going to serenade you with "You Are My Sunshine." And you're going to sing with us, okay? I'm going to watch. Here we go, okay. Kevin.
Would you pray with me? Oh Lord, we're grateful for the days you've given us. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to gather together. We give you thanks for our state and our community and for those who serve her. We ask that you would lead them and guide them and lead us and guide us as we seek to make our community and our state a better place to live. So now, Lord, we ask your blessing on our food and fellowship, our time together today. These things we pray in Christ's name. Amen. Amen.
We're thankful for the freedom we enjoy. We're thankful that we have our Lieutenant Governor here today. So let's face the flag, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thought you were going to give a speech then. Here we go. You're supposed to come down that pole. I was looking. That's what we asked him. Skip Holt's on it. He was the co-chair. He said, I don't think I can get in the hole.
We have dancers everywhere.
Oh, here we go with You Are My Sunshine.
You hold the mic. I'll sing with you. Go ahead.
You get started.
Here we go.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away.
That's pretty good. Now the second verse. How many know the second verse?
You don't have the video. Let's do the Lord's
All right, good afternoon. It's a beautiful day in North Louisiana here. Do we have any guests that need to be introduced? Jessica.
I brought with me Sharina Nento. She works at Central Next Community. She's a member of the Lincoln Rotary Club. And Amanda Carrier, who is in charge of our Experience Wrestling City.
Very nice, thank you. Bill?
I have several guests today. Tom Scafani. Tom, stand up. Tom's new to Ruston. He's paramilitary, combat infantry. So I put him between Air Force and something else back there. I'm not sure what. But welcome, Tom. We have a lot of other guests here. Just want to recognize them. So Julio, he runs with the Lieutenant Governor. I don't know how they keep up with what he does. In the back, we've got Joe Martin. Joe, stand up. Joe on here. He's going to the back door. We've got Christian that came early and set up the IT. I'm going to miss some others, but we thank you all for coming. And so I'll say a little bit more when we get to introduce her.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Any other guests? Mike?
I have my wife, Danielle Smith, here today.
All right. And yes, sir.
My wife came.
Alan. I know
My
that.
guest, Rick Godey, director of the Lincoln Parish Museum.
And Lori.
I brought with me Anne Marie Fields, and I work with her at Martin Finance.
Can you guys hear me okay? Do I need the mic?
Yeah, you
Okay.
need the mic.
All right, well, I'll keep it here, yeah. Any community announcements?
Mr. Chairman, point of
Andy.
order.
Oh,
Does the gentleman from East Georgia know that I rehearsed this club for the last 3 months?
you did a good job rehearsing, by the way. Everybody knew the
You can do
song.
it perfectly if you want.
Bill, you want to talk about the Expo, Senior Expo?
Next week, April the 20th, we have the Senior Expo at Sports Pavilion, Sports Center, Sports Complex. There'll be 500 or 600 seniors there. It starts at 8 o'clock, but they'll be there to 6 in the parking lot. So we've got a lot of folks in here that qualify to come. And they're great day.
Yes, sir.
April 20th.
Ken and Dolores Taylor are in Alpine now, recruiting. We took them flowers yesterday, and I know they would appreciate you coming out to say hi.
Yes, sir. Doctor?
We have a baseball game this evening with at 6 o'clock. Right?
And it's a whiteout.
It's a whiteout, all right. Okay, are there any other Rotary announcements or anything like that?
Lord, we missed Nancy Bergeron here.
Yeah, we did, Miss Nancy. All right, without any further ado, Bill, you want to introduce our guest?
First of all, Bob, welcome back. You know, when you have a headache and it goes away, you miss it. Bob, we missed you.
With enemies like him, better be friends.
But we're all glad to have you back, Bob, and we have missed you sincerely. So it's a real honor for me to introduce our Lieutenant Governor today. I've known Billy since he started running 7 years ago, maybe.
He's still running.
In 2000. And listen, I can tell you, Joe back there, same place, they have to rotate out because Billy keeps them busy. They stay on the road. I don't know how they keep up in Julio and others. So I appreciate their service to the state too. But this is the hardest working Lieutenant Governor I think we've ever had. I think, Billy, you're the 54th Lieutenant Governor. We've had entries in the Rose Bowl Parade and won top honors. The Macy's Parade, top honors. We're doing things that other states have not been able to do with a relatively low budget. So, Billy, you need no introduction, but our Lieutenant Governor, help me welcome Lieutenant Governor Billy Nung.
Thank you. I guess you want me to stand back here by the mic, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank y'all for having me. It's great to be back. I know it's been a while, and so I'm not really sure. I know they ding that thing right at 1 o'clock, so I'm gonna go through this PowerPoint pretty quickly, and because I always want to make sure I answer your needs and talk about what you want to talk about. I do want to mention something, and I don't think I ever brought this to your attention last time I was here. About the founder of Rotary. Did I talk about this last time?
No.
So I'm a Rotarian from Belle Chase down in Plaquemines Parish, and our president did a little research and found out in 1893 Paul Harris was down there picking oranges in Plaquemines Parish for the summer. And they were coming back across the river with some oysters, and the winds picked up, and it was a hurricane. And he rode out that hurricane in South Plaquemines and then began to carry women and children to safety and kind of helped after the storm, as we always do. And he went back to Chicago, moved to Chicago in 1896 and started practicing law. And he was having lunch with a few of his business associates and talking about that experience after the hurricane and talking about the need for an organization that could help out and put service above self. So we know always there's some good things come out of the hurricanes, neighbors helping neighbors. We really see people pull together. And so it's kind of nice to know that this great organization that does so many great things all over the world some of the ideas for starting it started right here in Louisiana. And so we were able to verify all this through a lot of research, and we were able to put up this plaque down in Plaquemines Parish by Fort Jackson in honor of those memories from that horrible hurricane. So I thought I'd share that with you about our founder and all the great things Rotary does. So as we come out of COVID, we've got a tremendous task to get back to record-breaking numbers. Prior to COVID, we had 5 record-breaking years. In 2019, over 53 million people visited Louisiana, and they left behind $1.9 billion in taxes that you and I didn't have to pay. That's a little over $1,100 per Louisiana family. It was the 4th biggest industry in Louisiana. Since COVID, it slipped to 5, and thanks to the legislature's support of upping our budget with some of that money that flowed down from Washington, we're able to do a little bit more to get back to those record-breaking numbers. And I'll tell you, when we sat around and said, what are we going to do to get people excited about coming back to Louisiana? We talked about, what do we do better than anyone? We throw a parade. So we looked around the country and said, where else do they have a parade? So we went out to New York to meet with the Macy's people. And they'd never had a state in that parade before. So it's big corporations. So we negotiated a float. And the first float they sent us, I said, I'm not putting my name on that. We build floats. We need a wow factor. So we went back and forth for several months. And finally, approaching a deadline, we settled on the longest float ever to crawl down the streets of New York, this Super Gator. And the other thing is we wanted to make sure we had a Louisiana ambassador performing to bring some excitement to Louisiana. And that year we picked John Batiste. They accepted. Little did we know 6 months later, before the parade, he'd be nominated for 9 Grammys, and now has been a star. So we stole the show. And I'll tell you, that year was the highest rated, most viewed entertainment program of the year. And we made a commitment of $1.3 million for 3 years. And we reached $1.5 billion the first year, and for a total of 2.4 billion people over 2 years, and we still got 1 year to go. It really worked well. In the first year, I was able to go to New York there, and for the week before the parade in Times Square, all the screens went dark, and then this alligator eye appeared. And you saw the crowd stop and look as it blinked and looked around, pointing at it. And we had several messages on it. New York, get ready, Louisiana's coming, to really get people excited about the parade. But it was kind of neat to be in Times Square and see people looking and pointing to this alligator eye to get them excited about the float and the parade. And Louisiana stole the show. It worked so well, we thought about where else is there a parade? Well, they have the Rose Parade. Well, let's go try to get a float in. So we went out to Pasadena on a Sunday night. We walked in Monday morning, and the committee that decides, they were taking 3 new floats that year. Once again, they never had a state, big corporations. And the lady had a pin on, and it said, dream, believe, achieve. I said, ma'am, what does your pin mean? She said, well, that's our theme this year. And she said, Mr. Nungasser, if y'all are allowed to have a float in, will you be riding with us? I hadn't thought about it. I had to think quick. I said, no, ma'am. I said, we're going to put a teacher of the year, police officer of the year, a volunteer, Cajun Navy, a doctor, a nurse that risked their life during COVID. We're going to put all the good of Louisiana. And I said, ma'am, you know, everybody's been through COVID, but Louisiana got hit with the 2 worst hurricanes ever. One of them actually left North Louisiana as a hurricane, first time ever. We could really use a little shot in the arm, no pun intended, if you could give us a float. It would really help boost our morale back home. And she said, I have one other question. Does everyone in Louisiana have that much passion? I said, yes, ma'am, everybody does. So we were able to get a float in. That year we had American Idol ride. This year we said, how do we outdo it? We won an award for best entertainment, best floral design. So I was actually on the phone with the Strawberry Festival people. They were concerned that they weren't going to have a good festival coming out of COVID because they compete against New Orleans with the French Quarter Fest. And I said, how many people do you need? She said, well, I need about 150 150,000 people over 3 days to make it, or we probably won't make it another year. And I said, don't worry, you'll have it. So I told our social media people, don't make me a liar. There better be 150,000 people at that festival. Well, at 500,000 people, they shut the highway down. We oversold it on social media. So we knew then we had to do everything we could to promote every fair and festival to make everyone successful coming out of COVID. So I got off that phone call, and we had a conference call about what the float was going to look like, who was going to ride, and we came up with the idea to do a riverboat, knowing that those river cruises are now going upriver, to talk about that and highlight all the stops it'll make along the Mississippi River. And I said, well, why don't we put some of our fair and festival queens? Now, I take credit for the 22 ladies that were picked. The ones that didn't, that's not my fault. Because we have 400 fairs and festivals, and that was a tough choice. But we had the Fair and Festival Committee come together, and I got to tell you, I've never been more proud of Louisiana. Those young ladies, you know, they got to know about the peaches, the crawfish, the boudin, the ducks. They got up every morning, was at that den at 5 a.m. We had a satellite truck, and in front of that float, we did interviews all over the world about Ruston, about Mamou, about every corner of the state, and they knocked it out the park. They made me so incredibly proud of how much passion and love they had for their town, their city. And as a matter of fact, I canceled some of my interviews because they were asked by other stations to talk about the things that they were bringing to the world. And it was pretty incredible. And I'll tell you, once again, we came home, we got lucky again. We picked a little-known singer, Lainey Wilson. 6 weeks later, she gets on Yellowstone, wins Female Vocalist of the Year. She stole the show. And I got to tell you, if you want to make a trip of a lifetime, plan to come out with us the week after Christmas and help us decorate the float. There's 136,000 roses, seeds, weeds, orchids, stuff I can't even pronounce, on that float. All that white is shaved coconut. Everything has to be covered in a plant, a weed, or a seed. All volunteers. Now, some of those volunteers have been volunteers since they're teenagers. They're in their 80s, and they show up every year. We had over 100 people from Louisiana come out to help decorate that float. We also had a young lady who I captained the boat this year from Shriners Hospital. And knowing this is the 100-year anniversary of Shriners, or last year was, we wanted to highlight the great work that incredible hospital does that was started right here in Louisiana. And a lot of people didn't know that. So she got to talk about surviving a horrible bone disease because of that hospital and all the great things it did for her. So we were able to highlight that great hospital, another great thing that has come out of Louisiana. Over the last 2 years, we reached over 4 billion people with this performance 2 years in a row. And what it did, we saw traffic to our websites to book trips to Mardi Gras go up 800%. And the good thing about it is we promote Mardi Gras all over Louisiana, not just New Orleans. And we started that because after I got elected, I had the lieutenant governors in New Orleans. And in my speech, I said, y'all need to come back for Mardi Gras. And they're like, we're not bringing our kids to this French Quarter. So did you know we had Mardi Gras all over Louisiana? Nowhere. So the next year, on Mardi Gras Day, we signed a deal with Southwest Airlines. At about 30 airports, when you got on a plane, they put a pair of beads on you, and when you got on the plane, we had them give an announcement. Wherever you're going today, it's Tuesday, except in Louisiana. It's Mardi Gras. And if you open the book in the back of your seat, you'll see about Mardi Gras in Louisiana. And when you open that book, there was a map of Louisiana. And they had them throwing the hot dogs in Shreveport, chasing the chicken in Mamou. And it talked about every Mardi Gras celebration in Louisiana. Family-friendly, affordable, safe Mardi Gras in every corner of the state. And from that year up into COVID, we saw double-digit improvements in out-of-town guests coming to Mardi Gras all over Louisiana. This past year, we had a group from Japan fly into Dallas and go to Shreveport. We had a group from Australia in Morgan City and Houma. So we've been able to continue to grow that, and we're going to continue to do that again this year. I tell you, the market that we're really concentrating on to get back quicker is the international market. Once again, they stay longer, they spend more money, and they see more than just one or two cities. They see a whole state or two on their visit. We've been so successful at our growth in the international market that this year we received a $300,000 grant from the U.S. Department of Commerce on international trade to go to 3 new international markets, because we have to hand pick where we're going to go every year because of our budget. Well, for the next 3 years, thanks to that $300,000 a year grant, we will be in Italy, Spain, and India, 3 markets we've never gone to before. So we've hired a consultant in each of those markets. We'll be doing trade shows over there, meeting with travel agents, and 3 new markets to attract people to Louisiana that we're real excited about for the next 3 years. I mentioned the fairs and festivals. It's something that we don't give enough credit to those teams of people that work year-round at no cost to put together these events. And that's why we've committed. We give out a lot of direct grants for them to promote it, but we also, through social media, track the people that open and look to go to those events. And I made a commitment that every fair and festival for the foreseeable future will be successful. We can't afford to have any of them fail, nor can we afford not to help the local businesses in the communities. We were talking a little bit ago about Main Street. We're sending a crew around Louisiana. We'll come into your community. We'll film the restaurants, shops, attractions, and we'll put a little video on social media. We're going to continue to do that till everybody's back to the numbers they enjoyed before COVID. You see, the local businesses don't have the money going through COVID to promote themselves. So I had to get a legal opinion that I can legally promote a private business if it benefits tourism. Well, that's all of Louisiana. We did one down in Morgan City. Elderly couple has a tour boat. They do Eagle tours. They hadn't had 2 people on the boat since COVID. We did a little video, went into town, did some shops and restaurants. We put a little money behind on social media. They've been sold out every week since that video. So we're going to do that and continue to do it all over Louisiana. And we'll coordinate that and come through as many times and continue to do it. I've talked to a couple people today about that and gave them my number. It's something we want to continue to do to get those record-breaking numbers back. Now, I need y'all's help with our state parks. We're going to tweak some of the private-public language because I've been turned down by the administration on some of the things I wanted to do. They didn't think the legislation gave us the authority to do that. Francis Thompson is doing that legislation. But when I took office, Jay Darden told me I'd have to close 7 state parks. We didn't have the money to keep them open. And I said, well, Jay, why didn't you close them? He said, I was running for governor. I wasn't closing them. But not only because of the hard work the men and women that work at those parks did, but also our sheriffs. Every sheriff I called on the state and said, can you give me some help with work release to paint the docks, fix, put some bathroom equipment in? They really stepped up to the plate. We not only kept them all open, but I looked at other states, what are they doing? And through the private-public partnership, we've got several state parks making a profit. And if we're able to do what I know we can do with these parks over the next couple of years, I see a day when not only we not need any tax dollars to run the parks, they can generate millions of dollars that we can use for culture, recreation, and tourism. The Resort Conference Center in Mississippi, in Alabama, pays for all the state parks, generates millions for educational programs for kids in that state, that one development. We would like to build one of those on Lake Pontchartrain, maybe on one of the lakes up here. You've seen these lazy river VIP RVs going up all over. We don't want to compete with private business, but in a few areas where we have a state park where the numbers might not work, but if you got the land free, it might work, we'll give you the land. What we want to do is make sure everything we do is a win-win for the community. We will go to the elected officials, the chamber. We want to make sure whatever we do does not compete with a local business. We will not let them open a restaurant. We've had a lot of offers. We want them to leave there and go shop and spend money in the community. But we want to see these parks be attractions. Washington Parish struggles for tourism. They've got the free fair every year. That's about it. we opened 2 private-public partnerships, a mountain bike trail and horseback riding. It has put that parish on the map. Every weekend, there's hundreds of people. One weekend, they had 1,160 people from 11 states to ride that mountain bike trail. I got a little video and a little bit to show you, but it was named the #2 mountain bike trail in the country. We want to do these things all over to make these parks an attraction for those communities. Another thing that we think is a great asset to our parks, especially Poverty Point, is these river cruises. We just signed a deal with Viking. I was there a few weeks ago to welcome the bus loads that are going to Poverty Point. We've struggled to get people there because it's such a far drive from a major airport. Now these groups will be 2 boats a week, will be docking, bringing people there. We want to try to expand the reach of where we can get these people to go and visit towns and cities in North Louisiana coming off the Mississippi River. We expect between 12 and 15 boats a week in the next 5 to 7 years. We'll be traveling up that river, making several spots. We just opened this conference center. Here's a little video of the new conference center at Poverty Point in the state park there.
It's a dome.
Did you know Louisiana has a UNESCO World Heritage Site at Poverty Point in North Louisiana? At 3,400 years old, this ancient area served as a trading hub and engineering marvel, and is located near Poverty Point State Park. The state park offers fishing, golfing, lodging, and a brand new conference center that holds 160 people overlooking the golf course. And now, riverboat cruises dock nearby where buses bring visitors to the World Heritage Site. For more information, go to louisianastateparks.com.
So we believe we're going to be able to bring small conferences there that want to play golf and really look, we're still looking to add some wow factors to that place to get people excited about coming up there. Another thing we're doing at the parks is we have glamping, another private-public partnership. We put up no money for this, yet we've made about $500,000 for our parks off this partnership. We have one, it's about 3 miles back in the park. They give you bear spray. If you go into that one, another one, you have to take a canoe out to an island. I kind of like the one you can drive your car right up next to. But this has been really successful. It's a platform with a queen-size bed. All you need is your sleeping bag, and gives people a great an opportunity to see if they really like camping before they go buy all that equipment. I'm going to show you a little video of this mountain bike trail that has been unbelievably successful at luring people to Louisiana. That's the one I'd be on right there. So this thing has really attracted people to Washington Parish, and it was done through a private-public partnership as well as horseback riding at that park. We get people coming in from all over, and we're looking for those partners all over the state. But once again, if there's something in the area that would compete, we don't want it in the state park. We want to support those local businesses. I know many of you have taken advantage of the Seafood Promotion Fund, where we provide free seafood to help raise money for charities, nonprofits, or just to feed our teachers, our police officers. As long as it doesn't help a private business, we can do that. I also want to mention to you, the state of Louisiana has tried to sell us about these diversions on the river. That's going to save the coast. A diversion cannot build land above the waterline. It's impossible. Why are we doing it? We could take a dredge and lower storm surge to the whole coast in our lifetime for what we're going to spend on this $3 billion diversion. There's a study out of Washington by the Marine Mammal Commission says if we build this diversion, dolphins will be extinct within 50 years. It will kill 50% of the dolphins in the first 5 to 10 years. Why is that important? The dolphin is a canary in a coal mine, smartest animal in the Gulf. When it dies, everything below it will die. When we opened a spillway in 2019 for High River, we killed more dolphins than the BP oil spill. and they die a horrible death with sores all over their body because they're territorial. They're not leaving, and they can't understand why they're dying. This diversion will wipe out our seafood industry. Will it ever come back? We probably won't be here to know that. Louisiana doesn't need a 50-year coastal plan. 50 years from now, we'll be having the Grand Isle Fishing Rodeo in Baton Rouge. We better rethink this and come up with a 3 to 5 year plan to lower storm surge to our coast in our lifetime, and protect that incredible industry. Mississippi has got an injunction to fight the one on that side of the river, and they just keep ramming this thing down our throat. When it started off, this was going to be a $200 million diversion. The cost now is over $3 billion. And we're going to open up the river and pollute the estuary that grows everything beautiful for the Gulf. So I know you're not on the coast, but you eat that great seafood, and I'm trying to educate the people. There's just so much money behind this project, so many people getting rich. You know how it is when you fight those. I had $17 million taken out my budget last year to punish me for speaking out about it. So it's something that anybody that really cares about our coast and our seafood needs to be educated on. They spent a little over $3 million advertising why we should build this. Well, it's the right thing to do. We shouldn't have to advertise. It will not save the coast. And while I'm talking about seafood, I talk about our crawfish. You know, every year, the first Tuesday after Mardi Gras, we take one lucky crawfish out the Atchafalaya Basin. We escort it to the university. We give him some great name, and after somebody famous, we name this one Furman in Breaux Bridge, the crawfish capital of the world, and then we let him live his life out in the state park. Now, I got a chance to speak to my Vice President Pence a few years ago at a dinner, and he was bragging about pardoning a turkey at the White House. I said, Mr. Vice President, we're very aware of the turkey pardon, but let me tell you something. First Tuesday after Mardi Gras in Louisiana, we take one lucky crawfish, we pardon it, we let him live his life out in the state park while the rest of his family gets boiled alive. He looked at me and said, son, what the hell are you talking about? So he didn't quite understand it, but it's a great way to kick off crawfish season. We get a lot of press on this all over the world about why they pardon the crawfish, but that's led to pardoning a nutria, and now they want to pardon an alligator, so we have a lot of fun with that. Now, next week is Love the Boot Week. And I ask you, and I know you do, and I know, Mayor, your town does a great job of cleaning up. And I'm so proud of the work, the university, the high schools, the Rotary. It's not something y'all do just once a year. 2 years ago, I went to the legislature to move Keep Louisiana Beautiful under my office. After beating my head against the wall for a year and having DOTD tell me, it doesn't matter, they're just going to litter. It doesn't matter if we pick it up. I went to the governor and complained. Be careful what you ask for. The governor put a task force under my office, made all the state agencies participate. So I see light at the end of the tunnel. DOTD is supposed to pick up garbage 10 minutes before they start work. This Friday, I will be taking a cart down the interstate for 2 exits with tongs picking up trash, and then I'm going to walk back 2 exits and do it by hand. And I'm going to show DOTD that if we use carts like other states, we can do it for about 1/10 of the money and pick up trash and do it the right way. Of the contractors I interviewed, all but one said, we don't pick up trash, it doesn't matter. So they just cut the grass. So I'd like to break up those contracts, let them go cut the grass, let Keep Louisiana Beautiful give out local contracts where people will get a cart, local businessmen could do it, and actually pick up the trash. When I was parish president, I put 20 garbage cans on an angle on every road leading to Highway 23. 90% of the garbage went in or around those cans, but it kept it off the highway. So we're giving out grants to any municipalities who want those cans, or if you want decorative cans in downtown, we'll give you those. We're also giving grants to our sheriffs. We just bought, I think, 8 vans, so they can take work release prisoners out there on a weekly basis. But we want to make this work for everyone. We just signed an agreement with DARE. We bought 50,000 little garbage bags to hang in your car. And besides teaching about drugs, they're going to teach about litter to the 5th graders. And I told them to tell those kids to go home and tell their parents if they litter, they're going to call the lieutenant governor. They love to tell their parents what to do. But if we can change the culture we can one day not have to spend millions to clean up Louisiana. And y'all do far better job up north here than we do in South Louisiana. But I do see light at the end of the tunnel. I wrote a letter to Walmart a few months ago and asked them to put the garbage cans back in the parking lot and empty them. I think down south, Cracker Barrel is the only company that has garbage cans in the parking lot. But we ask every business to put garbage cans outside, empty them, keep your yard clean so it don't blow on the highways. Everybody's got a pickup truck this day. Make sure your friends clean out the back of your truck. When you put your garbage, tie it in the bag so it don't blow out the garbage truck. And we're going around the state. Rick Moore works for me now, setting up litter court. Because a lot of people don't want to write tickets and clog up the courtrooms. So now the Justice of Peace can write those litter tickets. And we can even have individuals, you see some litter, you want to take a picture of the license plate and report it, they'll get a ticket in the mail. If they decide to show up at litter court, that person can show up and say, yeah, that's the lady that littered. And we have a couple of people that show up at that court and report those people every time. So it's something, the more people out there making sure we enforce this, only about 20% or less of the people actually litter, and we pay the price for that. Here's a new commercial that we're rolling out to really encourage people to get involved and clean up Louisiana.
Hey Louisiana, how are you stopping litter?
In Terrebonne Parish, we put our trash in a bag and never out the window.
In Bienville, we bag it, tie it, and put a lid on it.
We keep litter out of our lakes and Lafayette.
And in Calcasieu Parish, we keep our truck beds clean.
And we secure our loads.
We need every person in every parish to stop littering and let Louisiana shine.
So Mayor, don't worry, that's the first one. We're going to go around and cover every parish, so we'll be up here. But this is something we all get involved in. And I'll tell you, when we took it over 2 years ago, we'd get 30 to 40 groups around the state during Love the Boot Week signed up. And this week, or next week, we have 361 groups signed up, and we have participation in 60 parishes. Before it was 13 parishes and 30 or 40 groups. So we're making a lot of progress. We're making people aware. It's in every speech I give, everywhere I go. And I actually picked up a milk carton in the parking lot on my way in here. So we can do this, y'all. We got far too pretty a state to not clean it up. The last thing I want to talk about is Volunteer Louisiana. Because previously, we other than the tornadoes, we didn't get those high winds from hurricanes, but it seems like we're getting more and more weather events. Volunteer Louisiana, we've grown that organization over the last 7 years to over 10,000 volunteers, and we are partnered with about 50 faith-based nonprofits to provide services. In normal times, we paint senior homes, build wheelchair ramps for veterans. We haven't had many normal times lately. But the Baptist ministries, they got chainsaw groups. So after a storm, if you need trees cut out your yard, you go in and sign up, volunteerlouisiana.org. What your needs are, they'll download that case, go out and fulfill the task, and mark it complete. We're still working for the hurricanes. We had 18,336 cases. We've closed out to date 10,356 cases. Great thing about Volunteer Louisiana, they will be out there helping people until the last person is helped. We muck and gut homes. They've even got crews through AmeriCorps and Samaritan's Purse that if you fell through the cracks with insurance money and you need your home rebuilt, we do that too. So take advantage of that. And something else I want to mention. After COVID, I got the governor to buy 100 RVs for the people that had nowhere to go. And we put those in the state parks to house those people, to isolate them. During the Ruston, when y'all had the tornado, I got the governor to give us those, clean them up, and bring them up to house the people in the state park. We can use those RVs, they're ours. And if someone has a house fire, and we need to move one to the state park near there to house them to their back end, or a tornado, we have those now in our fleet. And I'm looking for private investors to build some cabins on trailers that we can move around and rent out in good times. and in bad times, move them to house our people, because we're not going to always be able to rely on FEMA. And many of these events, as you know, Mayor, tornado was not a major event to get federal funding. So we're going to have to think outside the box of ways to take care of our own, and those trailers are a good start, so take advantage of that. Now I'm going to close with a little video of the Rose Parade, in case you didn't see it, to hopefully get you excited about coming out and helping us decorate the float. Do not laugh at my dancing. I cannot dance. Don't laugh. So in the next couple of months, we'll have up on our website where you can go to reserve a room and sign up to come out and volunteer. We found a little old lady in Pasadena, true story. She owns a beignet truck. So we hired her, and every morning from 5 to 9, we have hot beignets, and we feed everybody, decorating all the floats, and for lunch, of course, what else? We bring out Louisiana seafood. So Louisiana really steals the show. It made me incredibly proud of these young ladies and proud of Louisiana, so it will be a trip of a lifetime. It's great to bring the kids out there. They have a great time decorating the float. It'll be a trip you won't forget. Thanks again for having me. Do we have time to answer any questions? I don't want to get in trouble, Bob.
Go ahead, you got 2 minutes.
Okay, any questions? Man, that's the first time.
When are you going to get excited?
Thank y'all so much for having me. Thank you for all the good you do.
I forgot to introduce at least one guest. Mike Walsworth, I'm sorry I missed you on the first round. If there's anybody else here that I didn't...
And I want to thank Mike. Mike works with me up here in North Louisiana. He's an incredible asset. He tells me all the problems at the state park before I get a phone call from y'all. Mike, thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. By the way, he did pick up the trash out of our parking lot as he came in here. I do love your beautification efforts there. Any other announcements for the good of the cause? If you have any guests, don't forget to sign them in at the next meeting, and we'll do the four-way test. And all the things we think, say, and do. Number 1.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
The third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
You guys have a great week.
Even before I was married.